Here's my ghetto studio.
Really? All about that paper boy. Got a team to serve a paper. Cali to Decatur. Stack it. Paper boy. Paper boy. All about that paper boy. I keep a team. Yeah. Paper boy. Paper boy. Always about that paper boy. If you ain't on your grind, then you flexing, you's a hater boy. Paper boy. Paper boy. Always getting paper boy. If you ain't making money, then you ain't a money maker boy. Paper clip. Paper clip. Yeah, I need a paper clip. I'm stacking up this paper, man, and I can make that paper flip, that paper flip, paper flip. Watch me make this paper flip and head to Magic City, and I bet that paper make a strip.
I want to talk about failing for a bit today because that's something I've done a lot of. One thing I want to make crystal clear is that this vlog is in no way, shape, or form meant to try and position me as some sort of expert or guru. All I'm trying to do is just kind of document the days in and the days out of what I do, how I do it, and what works. And what I'm likely going to show you more often is what doesn't work. I've had a lot of things go right for me. I've had a lot more go wrong and just fail. And that's just something you end up figuring out and dealing with. I've definitely failed a lot more things than I've succeeded at. However, the things I succeed at, I end up doing really well, and it more than makes up for the losses. So I think that's one thing, that's very easy to get discouraged about if something fails or even doesn't go as well as you hope, which again happens 99% of the time. But the most important thing is to move on, learn. I think there's value to be had in almost anything you do, as long as you can learn from it, as long as you can tinker and figure it out. The first thing we're going to document is this.
A 6-week challenge. Basically challenging people to get as good as possible over 6 weeks and guiding them step by step so that once they get to that 6th week, they see how valuable we are and they sign up for longer. What I like about this is it's a lot more like selling a product than it is like a commitment. A lot of times the idea of committing to a gym for a year can be a little intimidating. A lot of these challenges are run by companies that will do all the marketing, the closing, the business side of things for you. I actually like doing the business side of things. I think the coaching and that stuff is fun, but that's the easy part for me. I like the challenge of trying to figure out the business. So my goal is to try and reverse engineer how these challenges work and then basically just document and show how it works. So whether this thing is a complete success or an abject failure, on a lot of levels, it doesn't matter. Business is all about figuring out the things that work and rejecting the things that don't. The idea that I'm going to do it perfectly from the get-go is insane, and I'm not even remotely interested in that. My goal is to very quickly try and root out what's working and what's not, get rid of what's not, and put more behind what's working. The reason I'm documenting the whole thing is because I don't want anybody to think that this just works automatically. I'm going to show every misstep along the way, and then hopefully how quickly we can tinker and readjust and make it better. I really hate when you watch these videos or whatever online where people just show you how it works as if it's just magically going to work every time. It's crap. There are going to be a lot of mistakes. The best thing you can do is to take those mistakes, learn from them, and get better. And that's what we try and do all the time. We're going to try and avoid mistakes whenever possible, but we know they're going to happen. So the question is, how quickly can we adapt and adjust to the mistakes, get rid of them, and focus more on what we're doing well instead of what we're doing badly? So first things first, let's just quick break down how we put together this Facebook campaign.
Let's talk about your very basic sales funnel. I realize this kind of looks like a uterus, but that's just because I'm not a very good artist. So our basic sales funnel has 4 parts. At the bottom, the most important, the signups. How many people paid for the product? Above that, we're going to do an interview process. In other words, getting in, trying to talk to people, getting them to close. Before the interview though, you got to get people to be aware and click on the ad. And then before they can click on it, they have to just see it. So in other words, how many people can see the total ad? To break this down, we're going to talk about efficiency on the right and the attribute on the left. In other words, what's the most important factor of an effective reach, clicks, interview, and signups? So our goal for this project is 30 signups. Just 30 people. Not so crazy. In order to do that, we figure we're going to need about a 30% close rate. Now, our normal close rate is right around 55% of all people, so that's pretty solid. I think 30 is super doable. But before that, we're going to need people to click on the ad to schedule the interview. So we figure of the people that click the ad, we're hoping to get about 5 to 8% signing up.
In order for people to click on the ad, though, we're going to need to get about 2 to 3% of that reach to actually feel compelled to click. So if you just run the numbers backwards, that means we're going to need about 100 interviews, we're going to need about 1,250 to 2,000 clicks, and we're going to need to put those ads in front of about 62,000 to 66,000 people. Now, what's the most important attribute to get people to move down that funnel? Well, at the top of the funnel, it's just going to be about targeting. Now, I realize this is basically impossible to read, but that's just because my handwriting sucks. In other words, targeting is putting the ad in front of people who actually think the ad is going to be interesting. So I'm in DC, so if I don't put that ad in front of people in DC who are likely to buy, I'm absolutely wasting my money. Now, targeting is a whole ad science to itself, but we're going to do our best based on what information we have available from running ads before. So, to get people to move from reach to clicks, right, the most important part is going to be compelling ad copy. Good picture, good headlines, good ad text so that people actually don't just scroll past it and actually take the time to look at it. The most important part about getting clicks is going to be making the ad itself compelling. Most people are really good at scrolling right through advertisements. I think everybody's really adept at discovering what's an ad and what's not. So the better you can make it seem native to the actual platform itself, the more likely you are going to get clicked. Now that's a whole subjective deal onto itself. The question is, what do you work with? What can you find compelling and what can you put in your product? Now, getting people to actually sign up for the interview once they click the ad is all going to come to the landing page. Do people like the website they're going to? Is the process easy? Does it make sense? Is it intuitive? Or is it a whole mess? That's going to be the key factor in getting people to actually sign up for the interview. And then finally, getting people to sign up is just going to be that final sell, that final push to actually close. If you're not selling, all the best reach and landing pages won't do crap. It'll help, but it won't close the deal.
So 2 quick things to note about this. Number 1, I realize sales funnels is not exactly a groundbreaking business concept. But what I think is really important to understand is I come from an age of CrossFit where marketing was frowned upon. CrossFit HQ used to brag all the time about how they've never put together a marketing campaign.
And boy, does that show.
All these things I've basically just had to teach myself how to do. So a lot of this is just kind of refresher courses for me, just showing how I break stuff down and how I keep things in line. Number 2, I'm not promising this is going to work. I just promise no bullshit, whether it works or doesn't. Because part of this is going to be a learning process for me too, figuring out how to tinker and how to fine-tune what we're doing in the first place. All right, back to the gym.
Paperboy, really? All about that paperboy. Got a team to serve a paper. Cali to Decatur, boy. That paperboy, all about that paperboy. Yeah. I keep a team. Yeah. Paperboy, always about that paperboy. If you ain't on your grind, then you flexing, you's a hater, boy. Paperboy, always getting paperboy. If you ain't making money, then you ain't a money maker, boy. Paperclip, yeah, I need a paperclip. I'm stacking up this paper, man, and I can make that paper flip. Watch me make this paper flip and head to Magic City, and I bet that paper make a strip. Paperman, catch me in the paper, man, like Wall Street Journal, yeah, cause I be getting paper, man, that paper, man.